Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive. Today we're diving into a topic that's near and dear to many of our hearts, dogs with jobs. Whether you're someone who's about to give a big presentation or just a dog lover like me, I think this one's going to be pretty fascinating. We're going to try to unpack the often confusing world of service dogs, therapy dogs, emotional support animals, and even get a glimpse into how those furry friends train for these very important roles. We've got articles, research papers, even a really cute training video lined up for you guys today. So get ready to answer the question on everyone's mind, especially with so many more dogs in public spaces these days. What are the differences between these canine helpers, and why should we even care?
Well, you're right. Those lines can get really blurry, even though the distinctions are actually quite important, especially from a legal standpoint. You see, it's not just about what these dogs do, but also about the specific rights and access their handlers have.
So let's break it down, starting with the basics. We hear these terms all the time: service dog, therapy dog, emotional support animal. Can you clear up the confusion for us?
Absolutely. The American Kennel Club actually gives a pretty clear starting point for understanding these roles. Service dogs, for example, are those that undergo rigorous training to perform specific tasks directly related to a person's disability. That's key here. It's not just about companionship, it's about mitigating a disability. And importantly, service dogs are the only category that is legally defined and protected under the Americans with Disabilities Act, the ADA.
So that's where those vests come in. I'm guessing that means businesses and public spaces need to accommodate service dogs.
Exactly. But here's where it gets a bit nuanced. Therapy dogs, as wonderful as they are, aren't covered by the ADA in the same way. They provide incredible comfort and emotional support in places like hospitals, nursing homes, but they don't have the same guaranteed public access rights.
Okay, now that's a really important distinction. Why is that? What makes service dogs so unique that they get this particular legal protection?
It really comes down to the very specific role they play in mitigating disabilities. Service dogs are trained to perform tasks that enable their handlers to navigate the world with a greater degree of independence. We're talking about things like guiding someone who's blind, retrieving items for someone with mobility issues, or even alerting someone who is deaf to sounds.
So it's not just about being a well-behaved pet, it's about those specific trained tasks, right?
Precisely. And the ADA recognizes that distinction, making sure that people with disabilities have the right to have their service dog partners with them in public spaces. It's really about ensuring equal access and participation in society.
And those tasks are really at the heart of what makes a service dog. What does that training actually look like? I mean, what kind of skills do they need to master?
Service dog training is incredibly demanding, both on the dog and the trainer. They focus on skills that are tailored to the handler's specific needs, For instance, for someone needing mobility assistance, a dog might be trained to open doors, turn on lights, even help their handler stand up if they fall. For someone with a psychiatric disability, the training might focus on interrupting panic attacks or providing that deep pressure therapy that can be so grounding.
Wow, it sounds like these pups are basically going to canine college.
You could say that. And just like college, not every dog makes the cut. It takes a special kind of dog, one with the right temperament, the aptitude. Remember Deacon, that goofy yellow lab from that YouTube video? Almost flunked out of service dog school.
Oh, yeah. Deacon's such a character. He was just weeks away from graduation. But that command, oh man, he just couldn't seem to get it down, especially with all those distractions during the training.
He's the perfect example of how this training isn't one size fits all. Every dog learns differently, has its own strengths, weaknesses. Deacon, he might have struggled with distractions, but his natural ability for retrieval, for providing stability, those made him a perfect candidate for a different type of service work.
It's like those trainers are looking for a diamond in the rough. Right.
They're trying to find those hidden talents and nurture them. Speaking of heartwarming transformations, let's talk about therapy dogs. Unlike service dogs, their job description is, kind of simple, spread joy and comfort, right?
You got it. They're like furry ambassadors of goodwill, You'll find therapy dogs brightening the days of patients in hospitals, offering comfort in nursing homes, even providing stress relief at universities during exam time. And the best part is they're there for everyone to enjoy, not just their handler.
They're basically four-legged antidepressants, radiating calmness wherever they go.
And it's more than just anecdotal evidence now. There's a growing body of research highlighting the positive impact therapy dogs have on our mental and physical well-being.
Well, studies have shown that even just petting a therapy dog can lower blood pressure, reduce stress hormones like cortisol, and it even releases those feel-good hormones like oxytocin. It's like a dose of furry therapy.
Okay, so we've all heard the stories about therapy dogs in hospitals, how they can really bring a smile to a patient's face. But is there actual scientific evidence that this type of interaction can actually improve someone's health?
Oh, absolutely. Studies have shown that even brief interactions with therapy dogs can have a significant impact on pain perception, anxiety levels, especially for people recovering from surgery or those dealing with chronic illness.
That's incredible. So we've got service dogs trained for very specific tasks, therapy dogs spreading joy and comfort. What about emotional support animals? Where do they fit into all of this?
Ah, emotional support animals, or ESAs. This is where those legal lines we were just discussing can get a little, shall we say, blurry.
Hmm.
They provide incredible emotional support just through their presence, which, let me tell you, can be a lifeline for people dealing with things like anxiety or depression.
So they're kind of like furry therapists themselves, constantly providing that comfort and companionship.
You could say that, but there is a key difference. ESAs aren't required to go through that same rigorous, task-oriented training that service dogs do. They're not trained to perform specific tasks directly related to a disability. Their main role is emotional support, that companionship.
And that difference seems to be at the heart of all the legal debate around ESAs, right? If it's not a defined task, does it fall under those same protections as service animals under the ADA? Makes you think.
It really does. It raises some interesting questions about how we define disability and the role animals can play in mitigating those challenges. And obviously, it has very real-world implications, both for the handlers and for businesses.
Oh, for sure. And I think that's where really understanding these nuances becomes so important. Whether it's a service dog with those very specific tasks or the unwavering presence of an ESA, just respecting those roles and those boundaries is crucial.
Couldn't agree more. But hey, shifting gears for a second, I think it's always fascinating to take a peek behind the curtain of service dog training. Remember that BuzzFeed video with all those adorable pups learning the ropes? It was like watching canine boot camp. So cute.
Oh, I loved that video, especially those command drills. Seeing those puppies, so eager to please, but also so easily distracted, really reminded me of my own dog, Adorable Chaos.
Yeah.
But clearly a method to the trainer's madness, right?
Oh, absolutely. Those drills are so much more than playtime. They're really laying the foundation for a lifetime of focus and reliability for these dogs. Think about a service dog guiding their handler across a busy street. That unwavering focus on their human, I mean, it's literally a matter of life or death.
And it's not just distractions from other dogs or toys either, right? Remember little Benelli, that sweet chocolate lab. She aced that come command on the leash, no problem. But then those toys started flying and she completely lost her focus.
Exactly. Those controlled distractions are key. That's how trainers can really assess a dog's ability to stay on task, even in the chaos of everyday life. You know, a dropped plate at a restaurant, a car horn blaring. Service dogs need to learn how to tune those distractions out and stay focused on their handler.
It's like building mental muscle memory for these pups, teaching them to prioritize their handler's needs above all else. Speaking of distractions, how about Mr. Pip, that tiny agent of chaos whose job it was to distract his classmates?
Oh, Mr. Pip. He's a great example of how service dogs really do come in all shapes and sizes, each with their own unique strengths. You often find that smaller dogs are actually ideal for tasks that don't require as much physical strength, like, providing comfort to someone experiencing anxiety or alerting a person with diabetes to changes in their blood sugar.
And he took his job so seriously, that little wiggle butt. But there was one pup who was totally unfazed by his charms. Kaya, the golden retriever. She was a rock star, even with Mr. Pip right there under her nose, just flaunting it.
Oh, Kaya, her focus was really impressive, especially considering she was still in those early stages of training. She was actually living with a puppy raiser family at that point.
Oh, right. That's something about service dog training that I never really thought about until I saw that video. What's the point of having these families involved?
They're so important. Puppy raisers play this vital role in the early socialization and basic training of these dogs. You see, they provide a loving home environment where the puppy can learn basic commands, get exposed to different environments. It's really about giving them a head start on good canine citizenship.
Like puppy preschool to get them ready for the big leagues of service work. It must be tough on the families, though, having to say goodbye when the pup's old enough to move on to that formal training.
It is. But these families are really the unsung heroes here. They open their homes, their hearts to these dogs, knowing that they're playing this crucial role in preparing them for a life-changing purpose. They may not be the ones wearing the vest at the end of the day, but their dedication is absolutely essential.
It makes you wonder, how do those early experiences end up shaping a dog's suitability for different work environments? Like, would a dog raised in a busy city be a better fit for a fast-paced workplace compared to a dog raised in a quieter, more rural setting?
That's such a good question, and it's something researchers are actually looking into right now. While a dog's inherent temperament definitely plays a role, there's no doubt that those early socialization experiences can really influence how adaptable they are to different environments. And this actually ties into this whole growing trend we're seeing with, dogs in the workplace these days.
Right. It seems like everyone wants to bring their furry friend to the office these days. So
Yeah.
is it a good thing? Is it a positive trend?
Well, like with most things, there are some potential benefits, but also some challenges to consider. That research paper you shared really dives into this whole complex issue. On the one hand, having dogs around can really boost morale, reduce stress levels, even encourage more social interaction among employees.
Like having a built-in furry therapist right there on staff.
Exactly. But on the other hand, it's important to remember that not everyone is comfortable around dogs. Some folks might have allergies, phobias, or simply just prefer a dog-free workspace.
Good point. It's a good reminder that what works for one person isn't necessarily going to work for everyone. So then how do you find that balance? Should companies be allowed to declare themselves, dog-friendly while others maintain a stricter no pets policy? What does the research say about all of this?
Well, that's where things get really interesting. The research suggests that to make a dog-friendly workplace really work, it takes careful planning and consideration. It's not just about, opening the doors and letting any dog walk in. It's about establishing clear guidelines and really being mindful of the needs of all employees.
Like having designated dog-free zones for those who might need a break from all the fur, or maybe even setting some ground rules for, doggy decorum in the office.
Exactly. And of course, ensuring those dogs are properly socialized and well-behaved is absolutely paramount. I mean, it's not really fair to anyone to run a dog into a workplace that's going to be, constantly barking, jumping on people, or otherwise disrupting everyone's workflow.
It all goes back to that idea of responsible dog ownership that we were discussing earlier. It's not just about loving dogs, it's about really understanding their needs and being considerate of others.
And that responsibility, well, that extends far beyond the workplace, too, whether it's a service dog, therapy dog, an ESA, or, just a beloved pet. Recognizing those responsibilities it's crucial. And it starts with the basics, making sure your dog is properly vaccinated, licensed according to your local laws.
Right. It's not just about being a dog person. It's about being a responsible member of the whole community, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that includes things like, temperament testing. Is your dog well behaved? Are they comfortable around different people, different situations? Remember those canine good citizen tests, the ones we saw in the video? That's a great example of a standardized assessment that can help make sure a dog is well-mannered, socially responsible. And that's regardless of, whether they're a working dog or not.
Like a quality control check for good canine citizens. So beyond just the legal stuff, what does it really mean to be a responsible dog owner, especially these days?
Well, a big part of it is being aware of your dog's needs and limitations, understanding their body language, knowing when they need a break, and really advocating for their well-being, especially when you're out in shared spaces.
Being your dog's best advocate, especially when they're out and about in the world.
100%. And part of that advocacy is also respecting the needs of others. Not everyone is a dog lover, and some people might have anxieties or maybe cultural sensitivities around dogs.
So even if your dog is the friendliest pup on the planet, you got to be mindful of those who might not share that same level of enthusiasm.
For sure. Responsible dog ownership, it's a balancing act, for sure. It really requires a certain level of empathy and awareness, I think.
It's about creating this sense of shared understanding, respect for our canine companions and for the people we share the world with, which kind of brings us back to that core question we started with. What are the distinctions between these different types of working dogs, and why does it even matter?
It matters because as our interactions with dogs continue to evolve, I think our understanding of their roles and responsibilities has to evolve too, whether it's a service dog providing that essential support, a therapy dog spreading joy, an ESA offering companionship, or even just a beloved pet.
Yeah.
Knowing the difference is crucial if we want to navigate these interactions thoughtfully and respectfully.
It's about creating a world where dogs and humans can really coexist harmoniously,
Yeah.
respecting each other's needs, boundaries.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And that requires, ongoing education, open communication, and a willingness to adapt to this ever-changing dynamic of this really unique interspecies relationship.
So as we start to wrap up our deep dive into the incredible world of dogs with jobs, what are some key takeaways you hope our listeners will remember?
I think the most important thing to remember is that every dog, every single one, deserves to be treated with respect and kindness no matter what.
Absolutely. And hey, if you're thinking about welcoming a dog into your life, please do your research. Understand the commitment that it takes and be prepared for an adventure, one that's full of wagging tails and yeah, maybe a few chewed up slippers along the way.
Well said. And most importantly, remember that being a responsible dog owner, it's not just about following the rules. It's about fostering a relationship that's built on mutual trust, respect, and a whole lot of love.
Beautifully said. And on that heartwarming note, it's time to wrap up our deep dive into this amazing world of dogs with jobs. We've explored the rigorous trainings that those service dogs go through, the incredible impact therapy dogs have on people's lives, and even the sometimes confusing legal stuff around ESAs. Remember, knowledge is power, especially when it comes to navigating the world alongside our amazing canine companions. The more we understand about their role, their responsibilities, and the humans who rely on them every day, the better equipped we all are to create a more inclusive and harmonious world for everyone. Until next time, keep those ears perked and those tails wagging.